Excuse me, I'm trying to talk, sir. I am trying to talk to you.
Here's part of the problem. Your attorney is trying to save you. Oh, you know what? Don't throw your hands down. Bond revoked. Adjourn next week. Take it. Courthouse case of the people versus Hosea Hill.
Thank you, Your Honor. Alex Warren on behalf of Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill, can you state the court?
Hosea Raphael Hill.
Your Honor, I reviewed that with my client. At this time, he's going to admit to not only his behavior towards...
Why was he acting that way? You're going to have to give me an explanation for that. Those folks over there at Community Corrections have to deal with a lot of people coming through, a lot of people that are under stress, and they don't need this garbage. And certainly, and I'll be honest with you, especially Ms. Dozier, does not need this garbage. So before you start talking to me, you better make sure you understand what you're saying to me.
And, Honor, before the violation issued, right after the intake terminated because of behavior at the intake, Mr. Hill came to my office.
We're clear. It's not just his behavior. She had to call officers in, try to deal with it, and still tried to do it, and he still didn't do it, and he didn't complete his intake. Go ahead.
My office made me aware of what happened. Sat down with me, wrote an apology letter to Agent Dozier, and to her, I extended my apologies on his behalf. And I think to try and put this into context, and he acknowledges there's no excuse for it, but to try and put it into context, Mr. Hill has had medication stolen. He's prescribed medication for a mental health diagnosis. As he scheduled 2 appointments with his psychiatrists to make a plan moving forward. And after sending our apology letter to Agent Dozier, one thing Mr. Hill brought up was if his social worker was present at the time of intake, I think that might help him regulate his emotions, but he's still trying to get back on the medication that he's prescribed. So
we'll just read the letter here.
Well, Your Honor, I can answer any of the court's questions, and I think Mr. Hill can answer any of the court's questions as well at this time.
What makes this moment so important is that the judge is no longer focusing on excuses. He's focusing on control. In court, attitude and compliance matter almost as much as the actual case itself. You can hear the frustration building because staff reportedly had to call officers just to manage the situation. And once a judge starts believing a defendant cannot follow basic instructions outside custody, bond becomes extremely fragile. The painful part here is that the defense attorney was actually giving the court mitigating explanations, but every interruption kept damaging the defendant's credibility in real time.
You were interfering with the intake process. She was just trying to get certain things done.
Can I mention something?
Go ahead.
I was talking to Ms. Dozier in a meeting, and there was some confusion. I was confused, and I was explaining to her why. Because the magistrate informed me that if I go to when I go to community corrections, because he ordered me to go there, and I did everything he told me to do. And when we were in court, when I was in jail, and we were in court, he mentioned about corrections, and I already had past experience with community corrections, so I understand that these things cost money. And excuse me, please, I'm not interrupting anyone, and I don't do that. So I do, sorry. But once I Once I was ordered to go there, I mentioned the judge in court. I said, Judge, I do not have any money. I just do not have any money, Judge. And he said, that's okay. Community corrections will not turn you away if you do not have any money. So when I went to community corrections and met with her in her office, I mentioned that to her. Because she mentioned that, I asked her, is this going to cost me? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, well, I don't have any money. And she mentioned that, excuse me, I'm trying to talk, sir. I am trying to talk to you.
This hearing turned into a perfect example of how quickly courtroom behavior can change someone's future. The judge may have understood the stress, the mental health struggles, and even the confusion surrounding community corrections, but repeated interruptions and visible frustration ultimately destroyed the court's trust. And in bond hearings, trust is everything. The hardest part to watch is that his own attorney was actively trying to help him, but every emotional reaction pushed the situation further out of control. One moment of anger ended with handcuffs and revoked freedom. So what do you think? Was the judge too harsh, or did the defendant bring this outcome on himself?